Welcome back to Garden Sprout, where we find color and life in every season. Just because it's October doesn't mean the garden has to fade. Some flowers are only now stepping into their best moment. The air's cooler, the light's softer, and these blooms take it as their cue to shine brighter than ever. They fill borders and containers with warmth, texture, and color, standing out beautifully against the changing leaves. From soft pastels to rich autumn tones, these plants prove that fall gardens can still feel alive and full of energy. So before you call it the end of the season, here are 10 flowers still blooming beautifully in October. First on the list is the classic chrysanthemum, often called the flower of fall for good reason. Just as most summer blooms begin to fade, mums burst into color with their full, rounded flowers that fill pots and garden beds with warmth. They come in endless shades of yellow, orange, red, and pink, making them perfect for brightening patios or framing entryways. Hardy in USDA zones 5 through 9, chrysanthemums thrive in full sun and well-drained soil, blooming best when given a little fertilizer early in the season. Once established, they handle cool nights easily, often lasting well into November in mild regions. Regular deadheading keeps them neat and encourages more blooms. For long-term impact, choose hardy garden mums instead of short-lived florist types. They'll come back year after year. Reliable, colorful, and unmistakably seasonal, chrysanthemums are the heart of every October garden. Next up is aster, a true star of the late-season garden that brings fresh color just when you think the show is over. These daisy-like blooms come in shades of purple, pink, blue, and white, forming cheerful clusters that light up borders and pollinator beds. Asters thrive in full sun and moist, well-drained soil, rewarding you with weeks of bloom from late summer through October. Hardy in USDA zones 3 through 8, they handle cooler nights easily and keep their form well into early frost. They're magnets for bees and butterflies, making them one of the best flowers for extending pollinator activity into fall. Cut them back lightly after flowering, and they'll come back stronger next year with even more blooms. Varieties like Raiden's Favorite or Woods Blue are compact and perfect for small gardens. With their soft hues and long bloom time, asters are the perfect bridge between summer color and autumn calm. Coreopsis keeps the color going strong when other blooms start to fade, making it a must-have for October gardens. Its bright, daisy-like flowers bring a cheerful splash of yellow or gold that stands out beautifully against fall foliage. This long-blooming perennial thrives in full sun and well-drained soil, handling heat, drought, and cooler temperatures with ease. Hardy in USDA zones 4 through 9, it often continues blooming right into October, especially if you deadhead spent flowers through summer. Coreopsis looks great along pathways, in mixed borders, or even in containers where its fine foliage adds texture and lightness. It attracts bees and butterflies, helping keep your garden alive with movement late into the season. Once established, it's incredibly low maintenance and keeps coming back year after year. For a sunny, effortless pop of color that lasts deep into fall, Coreopsis always delivers. Black-eyed Susan is one of those flowers that refuses to quit, staying bright and cheerful right through October. Its golden petals and dark centers create a bold contrast that instantly adds warmth to garden beds and borders. These hardy perennials thrive in full sun and well-drained soil, easily handling the temperature swings of fall. Hardy and USDA zones 4 to 9, they can tolerate light frosts and still look fresh well into the season's end. Deadheading spent blooms encourages even more flowers, and the seed heads that remain later feed birds through winter. Rudbeckia mixes beautifully with grasses and asters for a natural late-season display full of texture and color. Once planted, it needs little care and returns stronger each year. Tough, timeless, and glowing with autumn energy, Black-eyed Susan is the definition of a fall favorite. Sedum Autumn Joy earns its name by saving its best display for the very end of the season. Its thick, fleshy leaves store water, making it one of the most drought-tolerant perennials you can grow, and its flower clusters shift beautifully from soft pink to rich copper tones as temperatures drop. Hardy in USDA zones 3 through 9, it thrives in full sun and well-drained soil, needing almost no maintenance to look good year after year. By October, the blooms are in their peak color, drawing in bees and butterflies long after other flowers have faded. Even once the flowers dry, their sculptural heads add texture and winter interest to borders. Sedum works perfectly in mixed beds, rock gardens, or modern landscapes, where structure matters as much as color. It's a plant that looks elegant without trying too hard. For gardeners who love low effort and high reward, Autumn Joy lives up to its name every single fall. Japanese anemone brings a graceful touch to the fall garden with tall stems and delicate flowers that dance in the cool October breeze. Blooming from late summer well into fall, it fills the garden with soft shades of pink and white when most perennials are winding down. Hardy in USDA zones 4 to 8, it thrives in partial sun and moist, well-drained soil, preferring a spot with a bit of afternoon shade. These plants spread gently over time, forming elegant clumps that return stronger each year. Their blooms pair beautifully with grasses, ferns, and dark-leaved plants for a calm, balanced autumn display. Japanese anemone is also a favorite among pollinators, keeping bees busy late into the season. A light mulch before winter helps protect its roots and encourage a quick comeback in spring. If you want a flower that feels effortless yet refined, Japanese anemone is your go-to October bloomer. Helenium is one of those flowers that seems made for fall, lighting up October gardens with rich shades of red, orange, and gold. Its daisy-like blooms stand tall on sturdy stems, adding movement and warmth to borders just as the light turns golden. Hardy in USDA zones 3 through 8, it thrives in full sun and moist, well-drained soil, producing wave after wave of color from late summer through mid-fall. Helenium pairs beautifully with grasses and black-eyed Susans, creating that classic autumn palette every gardener loves. Regular deadheading keeps it blooming longer, while cutting the stems after flowering encourages bushier growth next year. It's also a magnet for bees and butterflies, keeping your garden buzzing even as temperatures cool. With its long-lasting blooms and glowing tones, Helenium bridges the gap between summer brightness and fall calm perfectly. Bold, cheerful, and dependable, it's pure October energy in flower form. Salvia brings a fresh jolt of color to fall gardens with its deep blue and purple spikes that keep blooming long after summer ends. In October, many varieties, like Caradonna or Amistad, are still going strong, adding height and contrast against warm-toned flowers like Rudbeckia and Helenium. Hardy in USDA zones 4 through 9, salvias love full sun and well-drained soil, thriving even in dry spots where other plants might struggle. They're drought-tolerant, deer-resistant, and adored by bees, hummingbirds, and butterflies. Deadheading spent blooms early in the season encourages repeat flowering, often carrying color right through October. As temperatures cool, their silver-green foliage stays neat, adding texture even when the blooms start to fade. They work beautifully in borders, containers, or cottage-style plantings where color flow matters. Vibrant, tough, and long-lasting, salvia proves that blue can hold its own in the warm glow of autumn. Gaura, often called whirling butterflies, adds a delicate dancing quality to the October garden that few other plants can match. Its slender stems sway with every breeze, carrying small white or pink blooms that flutter like butterflies above airy foliage. This long bloomer starts in summer and keeps going right through fall, thriving in full sun and well-drained soil. Hardy in USDA zones 5 through 9, it handles heat, drought, and cooler nights with ease, making it one of the most adaptable perennials around. Gaura looks beautiful when paired with ornamental grasses or late bloomers like asters and salvias, bringing softness and movement to the scene. It doesn't need much attention, just trim it back lightly after flowering to encourage new growth. The more natural and relaxed you let it grow, the better it looks. Graceful, resilient, and quietly striking, Gaura is that understated beauty that keeps the garden alive in October. Rounding out the list is the vibrant Mexican marigold, a fall favorite that thrives when most flowers have already called it quits. Its golden yellow blooms light up the garden with warm color and a citrusy scent that feels fresh even in cool weather. Hardy in USDA zones 8 to 10, it loves full sun and well-drained soil, growing as a compact shrub that can reach about 3 to 4 feet tall. This tough perennial is drought-tolerant once established and keeps blooming right through October and often into November. The aromatic foliage adds extra value, deterring pests while giving off a sweet herbal fragrance. Mexican marigold pairs beautifully with salvias, ornamental grasses, and late-season daisies for that glowing, layered fall look. It's one of those plants that delivers both color and resilience with almost no effort. If you want a final burst of brightness before winter, Mexican marigold is the perfect way to end the season. And there you have it, 10 flowers that keep your garden glowing long after summer fades. These late bloomers prove that October isn't the end of color, it's just a new kind of beauty taking over. With the right mix, you can fill your beds, borders, and containers with blooms that carry warmth into the cooler days ahead. They're easy to grow, full of life, and a perfect reminder that every season has something worth celebrating. So keep planting, keep exploring, and let your garden shine right through fall.